And now it is my joy and my pleasure to introduce Eric Liswaniso, who is going to talk about a variety of things, but I think he's going to really focus on Rotary's impact on malaria elimination, and particularly the emerging leaders, the Rotaractors, who have gotten involved in this. So Eric, please join me.
Thanks, Jenny. Okay. Thank you very much. As introduced, my name is Eric Liswaniso. I will ask you to pretend with me for the next 10 minutes that we are not all concerned about the tea break. Okay. Yeah, so sitting there, I was thinking to myself, whatever I do up here, I must not fumble the technology, because I'm supposed to represent the youths. I'm supposed to talk about why empowering young people is important. And we are supposed to be tech savvy, so whatever I do, so we'll give this a try. Oh. It's working. Okay, perfect. So I thought I would start this off with my story of how I got involved with Rotary as a young person. So my first exposure ever to Rotary was when the Rotary Club of Lusaka, which I belong to, advertised in the press that they were organizing a crowdfunding event. So basically the whole concept was, they were calling this the Lusaka soup, and it didn't make sense to me at first, like, what is the Lusaka soup? Lusaka is our capital city, by the way. So the whole concept was you are invited to an event like this, and when you buy your ticket is your ballot, so you get to vote. And members of the community were invited to submit proposals, and so the best 4 proposals would make it to pitch at the event. I'm sure this is a common concept here, but it was pretty new back in my country. So, well, I had this initiative to support communities where I lived. So the whole idea was help women-led households start backyard gardens, and just to help them provide for their families. So I submitted my proposal. I was shortlisted to be among the 4 that pitched for that competition. And when I got to the event, I quickly learned that the whole thing was organized by young people, and it was a room full like this one, and I had stage fright at the time, but I was supposed to, well, writing the proposal was the easy part, but standing in front of the crowd and pitching my idea in 4 minutes was something else. Yeah, so I participated in that event, and the way the whole thing was run really inspired me to get involved with the young people. So I spoke to a few of them afterwards, and well, that's how my Rotaractor journey started. I won, by the way. Yeah. So fast forward, that was 2017. Fast forward 4 years later, I'm a Rotaractor with the Rotary Club of Lusaka, and Partners for a Malaria-Free Zambia becomes the first award recipient of Rotary's Programs of Scale grant. I had no idea what the Programs of Scale grant was. I was still a Rotaractor, you know, coming through the ranks, but I applied for that job, and fortunately, they had a young person, and so at the age of 33, I joined Partners for Malaria-Free Zambia as Programs Manager, a position that I still hold. So one of the first things I got introduced to on the job is that we are going to be working with Rotarian volunteers. And that was very exciting to me because, well, number one, my workload reduces because now we have volunteers coming on board to help. So excellent stuff. But also, it gave us an opportunity to leverage the Rotary network on the project because, you know, the people in this room, I'm sure half of you are Rotarians, and you bring so much to the table. And so it was a great opportunity for the project. But I quickly noticed that, again, the focus was Rotarians. We were calling it Rotarian participation. So as a young person, I asked the question, where are the Rotaractors? And so at least now I'm in a position of influence. I can give opportunities to young people. And so I advocated from within for Rotaractors to get involved. And that's how we got Rotaractors on board on our project. And so as the young people got involved, so basically what's happening is you come to a training, and I'm going to try not to get into the technical aspects of what we do, but basically, I think as Martha and Todd have already talked about, the primary focus of Partners for Malaria-Free Zambia was the training and deployment of community health workers to provide testing, diagnosis, and treatment for malaria. But apart from that, there was also a strong focus, and that focus still remains on data improvement because you need reliable data for decision making, as many of the technical experts in the room will know. So, as we gave young people the opportunity to participate, they wanted to be more than just a supporting cast. They didn't want to just come to the training, participate, and then go back to their clubs. They wanted to do more. And you know, when you're exposed to the training and you listen to powerful presentations like the one that Todd gave, and you see how data is so critical and how data is so important, and then you look at those charts and you see how you know, in some instances, the reporting rates are so low. The young people started to ask questions, which young people do. So they started to ask questions, okay, why is this like this and why is that like that? And long story short, the Rotary Club of Lusaka was one of the first to put their hand up and say, you know what, we want to do something about this. Are there opportunities for us to participate in the initiative? And so Todd presented on 10 districts under PMFZ. One of the districts was Luano. Luano is a valley district, and so, you know, malaria can be quite problematic in a valley setting. And beyond that, Luano also had technological connectivity issues in terms of being connected to the national grid. Now, that's, of course, the phone has been upgraded, there are smartphones now, but the community health workers need a smartphone to be able to report. But it's not enough to have the smartphone. You need connectivity for the phone to work. And so in some instances, community health workers would have to walk a long distance, and to this day they still have to do, to get to the nearest tower so that they can upload their data for all of us to appreciate that powerful data that Todd just presented to us. The young people looked at the low reporting rates and they said, can we investigate this further? Like, can we get to the root of why the data is not reaching the database? And so we said, well, there's an activity you can conduct which involves providing mentorship and technical supportive supervision to community health workers. The community health workers are the producers of the data, and so the mentorship aspect requires you to get them to appreciate why they need to produce that data, because it's their data that is informing policy at the highest level. And so the young people, with support from a grant from Malaria Partners International, got involved, and from 2022 to date, they have been supporting Luano district with data improvement activities, providing mentorship. They travel all the way to the valley, and at some point you're going to see a slide where they are in a boat, because there's a part of Luano which is inaccessible by motor vehicle. You need to get in a canoe to get on. But this is one of the reasons why it's important to get young people involved, because they are fearless and they love a challenge. Yeah. So beyond that, they started another campaign, again, leveraging their technological skills, because they're tech savvy. They said, you know, we want to do more than just data improvement. We want to create awareness, and awareness creation is what creates demand for the health services that the community health worker is providing. But also, beyond just the rural areas, because sometimes we focus so much on the rural areas, Martha gave a very touching example of how she lives in the city and her son died to malaria despite being in the city. And I interact a lot with people in the city that sometimes lack the information that you would think is basic about malaria. You know, we put out fun facts as the Rotary Club of Lusaka on what we call Malaria Monday. So this is just an initiative where put out fun facts and some information regarding malaria, and they put it out on social media. And you'd be amazed at how many people did not have that basic information, so they get involved that way. And it also gave them some global appeal, because with social media you can reach more than just your community. And so District 1841 in Germany took notice and they said, we want to partner with you, we want to work with you. And we have applied for a district grant of $9,500 to support your work and to enhance the work that you're already doing in Luano district. And so this January, they just completed the implementation of that with support from Germany. So you can see how now they are leveraging international partnerships to support the work back home. Fast forward, I became country ambassador for RAM Global and started rallying the clubs and appointing club ambassadors across the country. And again, because of my bias towards young people, we made sure we had as many Rotaractors coming on board as possible. And this year, on World Malaria Day, the Rotaract Club of Copperbelt University School of Medicine, the youngest, newest Rotaract club in the country, already said, well, we are the School of Medicine and want to get involved in malaria. And well, long story short, RAM Global gave them $2,200 to conduct an awareness campaign on their campus. And this is just one of many examples of what young people are doing back home. And there's so much more that they can do with our support when we give them opportunities and when we provide mentorship to them. The other newest club in the country is the Rotary Club of Zambia, which is youth-led. It is a bunch of young people. They should have been a Rotaract club, but they are a Rotary Club, and they are also conducting an awareness campaign around the improving the uptake of ITN utilization back home. ITNs is just technical speak for bed nets. So maybe to provide some more context to that, believe it or not, there was a nationwide distribution of bed nets last year, and many households got the bed nets, but I think you saw, I think one of the presentations had a slide where Zambia was not featuring very well in terms of how many people actually had a bed net, but were not utilizing the bed net. And part of that is down to a myth that was propagated on social media that if you sleep under the mosquito net, you know, it's got a blue ribbon on top, and, you know, that's how, long story short, you die. So people were not using the mosquito nets because of, you know, such myths that go around. And believe it or not, sometimes it can dissuade people from using interventions that can be life-saving. And so the Rotary Club of Zambia, youth-led, got on board and said, we are going to go around the community sensitizing people about, you know, busting the myth and getting as many community members as possible to adopt the intervention. So I thought I would share real-life examples of, you know, how young people are getting involved and in making a difference in malaria. Lastly, I want to talk about why malaria resonates with all of us, especially as young people. Put simply, we've lived it, we've experienced it. Not to take away from polio, I have read a lot about polio, but I haven't seen much of it in my time. But there was a slide that gave me a trauma response talking about the treatment for malaria, and one of the drugs there was chloroquine. I remember vividly as a very small boy, chloroquine was, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you know, you take chloroquine and you'd be scratching all over, and it was beyond just the disease. You have to deal with your reaction to the treatment. And it's something that we have grown up with. I think everybody who's lived in a malaria endemic area can relate to that. So, and apart from just the pain of going through the treatment and dealing with the fever and all that, there's also, I think almost every person, again, coming from a malaria endemic area can relate to has a testimony or two about having lost a loved one to malaria. So malaria deeply resonates with all the young people in my country. It deeply resonates with all the young people in Africa, and especially sub-Saharan Africa, and that's why it fuels the fire in us to try to want to get involved, to want to participate. And so in wrapping up my presentation, I just want to invite all of us to provide platforms for young people to participate in whatever interventions you are doing, because when young people are given opportunity and they are provided with the right amount of mentorship, there's no limit to what we can do. And if you remember, I think one of the best presentations so far today, it was really cool, was from a young person, Pranav. Most of that AI stuff flies over my head, but that's what you get when you get young people involved. Thank you.